Hi guys, it's Ryan here from smartsportstrader.com, and in today's video I wanted to talk about multi-accounting. This is something that I get emails about quite often, so I thought I'd go through why people do it, how people do it, and also the pros and cons of it. So first off, what is multi-accounting? Multi-accounting is using somebody else's identity to open and use a betting account. You'll see on Facebook pages and on match betting forums, people will often talk about friends and family's accounts. So when they're doing this, they're talking about multi-accounting, but they're kind of saying it without saying that they're multi-accounting, and we'll go into the legality of multi-accounting later on. So why do people multi-account? It's pretty simple really. The more offers you're going to get with match betting, the more money you're going to make. So you're just going to increase your profits tenfold if you've got 10 people's accounts that you can use rather than one person's account. And it's been going on for a long time. It's not something that's new, and it's not something that's just started to happen with the rise of match betting. But what you are seeing now is that it's becoming a lot more well known, and people are talking about it, and even bookmakers are reacting a lot more now to multi-accounting than they would have done, say, 10 years ago. But as long as there's been sports bettors being banned and being restricted, there's been sports bettors getting around that. And multi-accounting, or it's also been known as Gnoming, is another word for it. And I've also heard of people calling it like using mules to bet, which is kind of a strange one, but in America that seems to be the term, that you use mules to bet for you. So that's another one. Alright, so first off, just for legal reasons, I have to say that I'm not advocating or advising people to multi-account in this video, and that it's just for informational purposes only. And in this section I'm going to look at how does multi-accounting actually work. So if somebody was looking to multi-account, they might go to a close friend or family member and explain to them how match betting worked or how betting works, talking about betting restrictions and why they would need a new bank account and how they could make a lot more money if they had a new bank account or a new debit card to use. And then in some cases they might pay that person then a percentage of their winnings so that it was kind of fair, or to give them some incentive. And then how would they get around a bookmaker knowing that one person was using 2 or 3 people's identities to bet? So to get around that, people would use different IP addresses. They do this using virtual machines sometimes it's a VPN, sometimes people use mobile Wi-Fi and different devices. They won't just use their one laptop, they might use a phone, somebody might use a tablet. So there's kind of multiple ways of doing it, and there's some quite in-depth videos already on YouTube that have not been taken down yet that really go into this in depth if you're interested in learning more about this. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about why people multi-account and the pros of it. So the first one is the increased profitability. And like I mentioned earlier, if there's one person who is match betting and he's making, let's say, £300 a month, and then he's able to bet under the identities of 10 other people, and he's going to be able to make £3,000 a month, that's a big pro for that person. They might want to do that. The second one is to bypass bookmaker limitations. So there's a lot of professional sports bettors that will also have to find other people's accounts to bet in, and that's because they might have a huge edge with Bet365 or William Hill, Betfred, these types of bookmakers. Let's say they're betting horses, but they might not be able to get that edge betting on Betfair or in the Asian markets. So the only way that they can really exploit that edge to the maximum is to get more accounts. And the third one is scalability. So that's pretty much like we mentioned earlier. I've been in around betting forums and match betting forums and spoke to a lot of people, and you'll hear these stories of people with 10, 20 accounts who've just scaled it to like this huge level and made a lot of money, and some people have made retirement money from doing this. So that's probably a big pro for some people. So lastly, let's take a look at the cons of multi-accounting. And the first one, and probably the biggest one, is the legality of it all. Now, some people seem to think that multi-accounting is fine. Other people try and justify it by saying that you're kind of acting like a middleman or an agent. And then on the other side of that, some people say that it's outright fraud. So it's kind of a grey area, and unless you are a legal expert, then it's kind of hard to get a definitive answer for this. There's been some court cases in the past regarding this. I think there was one last year with Bet365. There was a young girl, I think she was like an 18-year-old student, who made some horse racing bets. She won like £200,000, I think, something like that. But her uncle was a horse trainer, or it was something like that. And Bet365 were basically trying to say that this horse trainer guy was multi-accounting, and he was just using this girl's name to bet through. I don't know what happened in the end of it. I think he got settled out of court. So again, it's still a grey area. The second big one is confiscations. Now, it's against pretty much all bookmakers' terms and conditions to bet under somebody else's name. So if a bookmaker or a casino find out that you're doing this, they will confiscate your money. Then the third one is the potential to be scammed. So if you're looking at scaling your multi-accounting to a bigger level, then you'll probably have to go to people that you wouldn't trust 100%. And if you don't trust someone 100%, there's always the potential to be scammed, and you would not be able to get your money back, because at the end of the day, you're betting in somebody else's name. And legally, if that money's in their name in the bank account and it's in their name in the betting account, then it's their money. You're not going to get it back. So we've gone through the pros and cons of multi-accounting. Hopefully you found this video quite interesting and maybe learned something from it. If you have, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And in the future, I'll be producing more content to do with sports betting and trading. So thanks for watching the video. Cheers.